An episode for you coming today where I will be talking about the NHL and how the NHL playoffs are moving along as we get deeper into the NHL postseason and a chase for the Stanley Cup Finals. And I will also be discussing some NBA playoffs, the other winter sport that takes place. And that is moving along in the playoffs as well. As I mentioned last time, now all the playoffs are set, Western and Eastern Conference, for the quarterfinals. And then finally, I'm going to cap this episode off with some college football predictions for this upcoming weekend and some recap from last night's matchups. This is all coming up on All the Talk, All the Sports. Yet again, we kick off this podcast with talking some hockey from the NHL, as the NHL postseason has gotten a lot more interesting as the three teams that I mentioned last podcast that were down 3-1 in their respective series, all three of those teams have forced a Game 7. Starting off with the Western Conference, I'm going to go with the game that is currently on right now as I am filming this. That is the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars are in action currently. Last time I checked, the Avalanche are winning 2-1, but that game is a 3-3 series, and that is Game 7. Winner goes to the Western Conference Final. So great job by the Avalanche to fight back from 3 games to 1, and then tying that series up and forcing a Game 7 against the Dallas Stars. So that's definitely an interesting one. And then the Vancouver Canucks battle the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 7 as well tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. They were down 3-1 as well. All of these teams have been, but they have tied it up in forced Game 7 against the, in my opinion, the best team in the playoffs right now, the Vegas Golden Knights. So that game's at 9 p.m. Eastern. I think the Knights win this one. I still have the Knights winning the Stanley Cup Finals. However, the Canucks have made it interesting for the Western Conference Finals potential teams. I do think, I'm not going to give any opinions. I can't even pick between the Avalanche and Stars. But I think the Western Conference Final is going to be a very interesting one that we're going to be seeing. But the Eastern Conference, on that side of the bracket, one of those teams has already clinched, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Boston Bruins 4-1 last week already. And then they're waiting patiently to see who their opponent will be between the New York Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. The New York Islanders were up 3-1 on that series earlier, and then the Flyers, led by young goalie Carter Hart, have battled back and forced Game 7 tomorrow night, Saturday. Winner goes on to face the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Final. So I think either one of those teams that goes on to face the Lightning, I think the Lightning take care of business, but I think they'll keep it a good series. So that's interesting. If you don't normally watch hockey, I recommend that you do. I think the NHL is starting to heat up right now as we move into the fall and later in the postseason, and I think things are going to get a lot more interesting as they already have, and things are just going to get better. So that's enough of me talking about the NHL. Now let's talk some NBA basketball. So the Western Conference, the Lakers and Rockets, that's set for the playoffs quarterfinals. They are yet to tip off, so no games to none. So they have not seen the court yet. The Clippers are up 1-0 on the Denver Nuggets. So that concludes the Western side of the bracket. The East side, they've been underway a while for quite a bit now, and the Miami Heat are up 2-0 over the Milwaukee Bucks. How about that? The Heat, most people didn't suspect them to make it, even maybe qualify for the playoffs, but they are looking really, really good right now, and they are shutting out the Milwaukee Bucks in terms of series matchups and games. But the Boston Celtics are up 2-1 on the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors won the NBA Finals last season. So the Boston Celtics are up there. So exciting stuff for the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, kind of pushing the MLB aside a little bit and stealing the spotlight. So that's enough of that. Before we move on to college football, however, the NFL starts this Thursday, September 10th, as the reigning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, will host, or go to host, I don't know, will play the Houston Texans for Thursday Night Football. After that, following, there are some, the whole NFL starts Sunday the 13th. Everyone's playing the 13th if your name is not the Kansas City Chiefs or the Houston Texans. So I think it's going to be a good game to kick off this 2020 NFL season. However, it will be modified. Things are going to be different this NFL season, but it is a good opening game on Thursday, September 10th, between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. And then the rest of the NFL will follow that Sunday. Now let's talk college football. College football last night, Thursday, I forget the date, but it was Thursday. South Alabama beats the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles by a score of 32-21 in the first all-FBS team matchup. So the South Alabama Jaguars headed to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to face the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles. The Golden Eagles were favored in this one by a lot. Big point spread. I forget exactly what it was, but how about this? The South Alabama Jaguars, the South Alabama Jags, they go by informally, they had the longest losing streak for road games. They have not won. They have lost all 15 of their past road games prior to this matchup last night at Southern Mississippi. But the South Alabama Jags defeats the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles 32-31 to end that 15-game road streak, that 15-game road losing streak. That was the longest in the FBS. Now Rutgers has the problem of losing the most road games in a row. So congratulations to the South Alabama Jags. It was an awesome game, and you got to feel good for the Jags. And then on the other side, the flip side, Central Arkansas, who played last week that I was talking about against Austin Peay, they were in action last night against the University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers, who were the first FBS team to see the football field this 2020 college football regular season. And the Central Arkansas Bears made it interesting, but however, the UAB Blazers defeated the Central Arkansas Bears by a score of 45-35. So that was a good game as well. I didn't watch any of that game. I watched South Alabama and Southern Mississippi. So there are games starting tomorrow, but first, before we get in predictions to those games, I am so excited, beyond excited. College Game Day returns tomorrow remotely. The best show in all of sports, the pregame show. So that is from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern before the first game kicks off for the day. I do have predictions, however, for some college football matchups. I have 3 college football matchups that I picked from this week that are very interesting. And that is, first game, the Middle Tennessee State University Blue Raiders versus the Army Black Knights. And I have the Army Black Knights defeating the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. I love the military academies. I love watching Army-Navy, as always. I love watching games in West Point on CBS Sports Network. So I'm going to go with Army. They run the triple option offense, and I think it is not enough. And the Middle Tennessee State defense does not have enough experience facing a triple option offense. So I have the Army Knights going to defeat the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. That is in West Point. So I know I said it is in West Point, New York, home of the Army institution there for the military academy. Next game I have, 8 p.m. ESPN. The Arkansas State University Red Wolves and the Memphis Tigers. The Memphis Tigers are a really good, excellent team. One of the best teams, in my opinion, the best team in the American Athletic Conference versus the Arkansas State Red Wolves, like I mentioned earlier. I have Memphis taking this one easily, probably 2-possession win for the Memphis Tigers to get rolling on this 2020 season start, to get them hot in a competitive American Athletic Conference. So, good win for the Memphis Tigers tomorrow is my prediction. And then, not tomorrow, but Monday, September 7th, Labor Day night, the BYU Cougars will head to Annapolis, Maryland to face the Navy Midshipmen. And I have the Navy Midshipmen winning this one. Once again, another military academy. I have them defeating the BYU Cougars. The Cougars are such a great passing offense. And then you look at Navy, who's a running offense in that triple option, who's starting to move more out of the triple option and back into the regular passing scheme. They've got a quarterback that can pass. He's not the best at it, but I got Navy winning in this one. Like I said before, it's in Annapolis, Maryland. BYU's coming all the way from Provo, Utah. So that's a big haul just to play the Navy Midshipmen. So give me the Navy Midshipmen in that one as well. So college football, a lot of the premier teams kick off next week, so the week of September 12th, the day before the NFL kicks off. So that is a big day in college football. So next Friday's podcast is going to be a lot of hype for the college football season. That's all the main teams will play the next day. So I do have another episode for you coming probably Tuesday or sometime early next week. So that covers everything I wanted to cover today on this edition of All the Talk, All the Sports. I'm Gary Wenzel. Have a great week, everybody.